Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Breakfast and Business. Today, as you come in, let me know whether you're live or on the replay, and also where you're tuning in from around the world. Now, today we're going to talk all about websites and why they're more relevant right now than they've ever been. Obviously, we're not new to the idea of having a website to promote our businesses or showcasing what we can do and how we can help people online. But right now, there is more relevance to your website than there has ever been. And I'm going to break down exactly why that is over the next 15 to 20 minutes with you during Breakfast and Business. Now, websites are, I've said before, and I'll say it again, the only place that you have full control of your customer experience and the customer journey. Yes, social media might play a fantastic role, and no doubt you're consuming this content somewhere on social media as we're talking, but your website is the only place that you retain that full control of the experience. You get to choose what the look, the feel, the sound, and the environment is like for your customer throughout every single step of the journey. So if you don't have a current website, I would highly encourage you to go and look at building one. And you don't have to get fancy with it, but you have to get started. The reason it's more relevant right now than it's ever been is that your website is the number one place to send people to. Yes, your social media is a great place to engage, to interact, and to gain that audience. But ultimately, you want them to visit your own owned content, your own owned property. And that's your website. Now, your website is your digital shopfront. When you realize that this is the place that you can do business, even when the doors close, even when a global pandemic hits, even when you can't have your own physical location open for business, you can remain open for business by retaining your website. In order to make your website your digital shopfront, you need to have an e-commerce solution in place so that people can actually purchase and spend money with your business online through your website. Super important that you consider this. One of the big ways you can do this is super simple, and you can set this up for yourself, or you can go to professionals to have this done. But WordPress is a great content management system that powers so many websites across the internet, and it's got so much easy to build capability with plugins and themes that will allow you to build something pretty simple straight off the bat for yourself, even if you don't have much experience with building a website. You're going to need to have hosting, your domain name, but once you've got these things in place, you're really going to be able to build something that allows your business to grow and to thrive online. Your website is the place that people can go to find out more about you. You can control how they communicate. You can watch and monitor the things that they do on your website so as to serve them better in future. And also you can showcase your products, your services, and really build that trust equity that I talk about all the time. Trust equity is that currency of trust that allows you to either cash it in later to get a transactional value out of it, or to transfer it to someone else. Now, controlling this through your website is so important, because you can have a membership area, you can have information, you can have contact forms, you can have downloadable content. Like I said, your website is the place to do business with your customers. Yes, you might have great opportunities through social media. It might be a great place to connect, but ultimately the rules change all the time. The algorithms change all the time. And we hear about people moaning and complaining about things within the social media platforms that you have no control of. Your website is the place that you have control of. The reason that it's more relevant right now than ever is because as the only content, the only environment that you control the whole experience, the whole customer journey, it's important to realize that as you control that environment, no matter what happens with updates to APIs, changes within the social media landscape, you're retaining that full control of what that looks and feels like, irrespective of everything happening. Even when your physical location businesses have to close their doors due to something like a global pandemic, you can remain open for business. Your website is your digital shopfront and your opportunity to stay connected with your audience, with your customers, with your community, and to serve them at the highest level. In order to do that, you need an e-commerce solution. So if you were to go down the route of using WordPress, you would also use something like WooCommerce, which is an e-commerce integration that's accessible to you through a WordPress website build. And that has so much functionality already pre-built into it. So you can already take card payments through PayPal, bank transfers, and that allows you to get up and running very quickly and very easily. Right now, a number of businesses are not set up and equipped to do business and carry out business transactions online. They have websites, but they don't have e-commerce websites. They don't have a website where people can actually spend money with their business. You want to make the journey easy, comfortable, and enjoyable for your customers. And in order to do that, you need to give them ways to do business with you, ways to transact, ways to purchase, ways to engage and interact with your business. If they're interested in your products, your services, and they want to do business with you, how easy are you making it for them to choose you as the solution for them? Remember that we're in the business of being solutions-based products and services, building an ecosystem that draws people in, keeps them engaged, and provides solutions to them to problems that they face. No matter what you do, whether it's products or service-based, those things that you do are ultimately solutions to problems that other people have. Right now, we've had a big, heavy focus in the last month around the hospitality sector as they're closing down, and they heavily rely on that physical location business. And the reality is the problem that people are solving by going out to places, hospitality venues, is maybe they aren't the best cook in the world and they want to have good food. Maybe they want to go out and have an experience. Those are all things that they can only do in those environments. We've talked about how those businesses could pivot earlier this week and change so as to carry on providing that experience to their customers, even when they can't see them face to face. Your website can include all sorts of resources. You could be teaching, educating, entertaining people within your website. You could be allowing them to get access to more information about what's happening with your business, how you're changing, how you're innovating, how you're pivoting your business through these interesting and challenging times. It's really important that you give yourself the best opportunity by setting up an e-commerce website so that your business can not just survive through these interesting and challenging times, but actually thrive. I brought this up in a couple of groups that I'm in, talking about why your e-commerce website is more relevant than it's ever been. And the fact is, you will actually open new markets. Yes, there is opportunity even in what seem the most desperate of times. You can open into new markets by being forced into having to take on an e-commerce website where maybe you couldn't see the reason for it before. A lot of hospitality venues couldn't see why they would want to sell online when most of the transactions happen in a physical location business. But now, having had their hand forced to either close or innovate and change towards retailing online with click and collect or takeaway services, they're now going to open new markets. People may discover them who didn't know them before, who hadn't experienced the great service that they can provide. So as a business, are you giving people the best opportunity to connect with you? Are you allowing people to transact with your business? Are you building that trust equity by providing information, support, knowledge, updates to people through your owned content? Your website is more relevant than it's ever been because there are rising trends in e-commerce, not just because of a global pandemic, but because people are used to spending money online, and more money is being spent through e-commerce websites. People are falling into what we know as the Amazon problem, the Amazon generation, where people expect to buy and get things the next day, or the instantaneousness of that Amazon service, that one swipe to purchase type idea. And what can you learn from this? These businesses have boomed and become massive businesses globally simply because they've followed the trends that are happening. They've actually helped to shape those trends. And you can also benefit from riding the wave of what is happening in the e-commerce world. If you don't know what I mean by e-commerce, obviously commerce is doing business, and e-commerce is the online electronic commerce that is happening right now on the internet. Literally, whilst we're speaking, millions of dollars of money is transacting between consumers and businesses and other businesses for products and services that could be just like yours. So have you set yourself up for success today? Have you got an e-commerce website in place? Are you allowing people to purchase through your website? Are you keeping them updated with what's happening? Are you showing them behind the scenes your character and building that trust equity that I talk about? Ultimately, people want to do business with people. You have to showcase your personality, your character, and you have to showcase why you're a great business to do business with. So think about that. The people within the business play a key role in showing up online, not just on social media, because that becomes more obvious because of the nature of it, but in your written content, in your in the videos that maybe you put on your website, or maybe in updating any part of your website. The character of the people within your business should shine through. So how can you show that character? How can you show up? How can you be continually updating your site? So many people have a website, but they maybe haven't updated it in a long time, or they haven't even looked at how it's performing based on when they first created it and how it's changed and innovated. Everything around you is changing, innovating, and adapting all the time. So you need to consider the fact that you need to change, pivot, and adapt along the way. That's not just your business, that's your website. It's all of the digital assets that you create. I talked to some people this week about the fact that when you answer questions to customers, and that might be direct one-to-one, it might be online, it might be via email or on the phone, think about how you can create digital assets that serve those customers. Yes, that one person has asked a question, but every time you get asked a question, if you were to create digital assets, so that could be a blog or a video, and you were to include those into your website, you're going to be able to use that resource in the future to provide a better experience for everyone coming through in the future. So if they've got questions, the chances are, if you're selling the same products and services, you're going to get a lot of questions that will be similar from customer to customer. Having a blog, having a video, having those solutions on the website will allow you to direct people back to your owned content, your digital shop front, the place where they can actually choose to do business with you if you've got that e-commerce solution in place. We've been, over the last month, helping small businesses to craft their way into the e-commerce website space to be able to sell and retail their goods and services to their community. Now, as you do this, you're going to be able to collect information. That will be contact information from your customers when they visit your website. Maybe that's through registrations. Maybe that's through accessing downloads or accessing certain areas of your site. And that's going to allow you to build that relationship. We talk about building trust equity, but when you're building that trust equity, it is all built around the human-to-human relationship. So what are you doing right now to help your business to build a relationship with your customers? When you start to answer questions and start to create digital resources that help future customers, what you're doing is you're building your trust. You're building the digital assets that will serve your business far beyond the amount of time they take to create. Yes, it might feel arduous at the beginning, but when you create those digital assets, they're there to call upon and speed up the process of helping people in the future. So think about when someone asks you a question, you could give them a quick answer, and then you could say, I've actually got some resources that might be helpful to you because you're interested in this, and therefore send them over. How would you like me to send those to you? Email, text message, and you can link them straight to something that is of high value and is going to help answer their questions. You don't then have to spend as long explaining it every single time because you've invested the time in creating those digital assets. Your website does exactly that for you. If you've created those digital assets and the things that will answer those questions for your customers and prospective customers, it's going to speed up the process of getting people from not knowing you to feeling comfortable with your business and brand, trusting you, and ultimately making purchases. So today I want to encourage you to go and check your website. If you have one, great, go and have a look at it and see how well it performs. If you don't have tracking and analytics on it, make sure you get those included. If you don't know how, go and speak to somebody who can help. If you haven't got a website, let's go and look at getting your website set up. You could start with a free WordPress website that you build yourself, or you can go and speak to a professional if you want to really up your game and step straight into this. Because right now, as businesses are closing their doors physically, it's more important than it's ever been to have a digital shop front. You want to show the world that you're still open for business and that people can come and do work with you. You need to allow them to connect with you. Even if you didn't have e-commerce on your website, having contact information, having your information about how to communicate when you're open and what you can do to help them is super, super important, especially through these times. So look at your website. If you don't have one, go and look at getting one started. If you have one, look at how it's performing. If you have one and you're checking how it's performing, have you got e-commerce solutions? Look a little bit deeper. Can people literally go to your website who don't know you, read enough about you to build enough trust to make a purchase? If they decide to make that purchase, how easy is it for them to go through your site and make that purchase? Not just the decision, but actually part with their hard-earned money to give to you so that you can do business with them in a transactional fashion. So think about that today as you go and look at your website or consider your website. Think about all of those things. Have I got a website? Am I tracking and measuring what's working with it? Am I regularly updating it? Can people contact me? Can people ultimately do business with me? Your website is more important than ever because e-commerce is on the rise right now. As physical locations are closing, people are doing more business online right now. With November lockdown here in the UK, people are going to be looking to transact more online as they plan for their Christmas purchases. They're going to be looking online. Yes, we may be open physically again in December, but some people will not want to wait and have the stress and anxiety of going to do that shopping, unsure of what will happen, and therefore there will be a rise even further in e-commerce. If you deal business to business, that still applies. People still want to do business. People might be working from home, working remotely, but business is still open. There are so many businesses still spending money, still transacting. If you want to be part of that ecosystem, you have to make it easy for people. Your website and having e-commerce and purchasable products and services on your website is absolutely crucial so that you don't just survive this time, but you actually thrive. Think about the brand new markets that you could break into, people that you've never been able to serve before. I used a hospitality example of you might only have ever served in-house at your venue, but now you could teach people to cook at home so that there's another route to market with them. You might actually do takeaway, which again, you may never have done before. And those are brand new customers. There might be someone who would never really be bothered to go in. They might suffer from high levels of anxiety and never visit a physical venue, but they might love to enjoy your food at home. So think about how you can broach new markets using a website, e-commerce, and allowing people to connect with your business online through your website, which is your digital shop front. Thanks so much for tuning in for another Breakfast and Business. I hope you found this useful. If you need any help looking at your website, getting feedback on your website, or maybe you don't have a website and you're looking for some help to get one built, whether that's just informational, e-commerce, whatever it is that you're looking to do with your website, please do feel free to reach out to me. You can find me as imTristanG across all the socials. You can also find us as It's Nomad 9 as a digital agency across all the social platforms. Please do reach out to us. We'll give you some completely free advice, help you out, and just point you in the right direction. And if it's a good fit, we'd love to work with you to help you move your business fully online so that you can carry on thriving throughout these interesting and challenging times. That's it for another Breakfast and Business. Hope you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, and I will catch you at 8 a.m. again tomorrow for another Breakfast and Business.